Look, I came down here to apologize for how things went. All right. Turns out you didn't dent my car.
Of course I did it. And if I did, I'm not responsible. Who dented the car?
My daughter.
Hey! What did she hit?
Fire hydrant.
Hey! Let me get this straight. So you come in here and accuse me that all this time the criminal is in your own house. I should sue you for defamation of character.
Listen, I'm sorry you feel that way, man. That's why I'm here.
I don't want to hear it. You're like Sarah Palin, and I'm like Barack Obama. And your daughter, she's George Bush. Everything is her fault. Then who they blame? Me, the black man.
What's up? Yo, it's your boy Podrey coming at you with a thought that I have put in quite a few videos, and here's an example. Okay, the thought that I've had for a long time is that parenting has got to be the hardest job. I helped bring a child in when I was 17, but before then I didn't plan on having any children until I was emotionally and financially stable. And also I needed to have a woman that was at my, equal status of emotional. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She had to be my equal. I had to invest the time into the woman that was going to help, bring a child into this world. And I didn't want to have a child until to that moment, but life happened, and I can basically remember the day that my child was conceived. And I can go more and more in detail about my own personal life, but I'll put it to you like, I'm gonna tell you this part. I was working at Long John Silver's, and she was a grade below me, but she was very intelligent. She was in my same classes. I had already, when I met her, I was in school, but I got expelled that year. It was my junior year. I got expelled that year, and I'm running into her and talking with her some more and things like that. It's one of those things where we met in school, and we ended up getting closer, after I was out of school. I was working at Long John Silver's, and when she got pregnant, I was there for her in all the ways that I could, all the ways that she would allow me to. During labor and birth, I was there, and even afterwards, I was there. She wanted to get married. She had this issue about being at home with her mother, and she just had some personal issues. But I knew logically, and it made common sense, that marriage wouldn't be wise because, for one, we didn't know who we were individually, and we didn't know who each other was Because, you know, it's like, hell, you go through all those young phases of puppy love, infatuation, and all that shit. You move too fast and call each other boyfriend, girlfriend, and then boom, you know, you end up getting, or she ends up, the female in the relationship ends up getting pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, man, I want to be your man. I want to be a father to my child, but we need to invest more time into ourselves and into each other in order to be better parents. She wasn't fucking with that. And I'm working. You know what I'm saying? But she stopped fucking with me and didn't allow me to see my child. And that's it. No matter what I did after that, I made sure that I was in a position to where I could be found, to where she could find me if she ever decided to allow me into my child's life. Alright, boom, bap. That's my story. Okay? I'm the type of person that I learn vicariously through other people, especially when I was a kid. If I see that something wasn't working for you, I'm not fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? If I see that something is working for you, then I want to know the ins and outs of it, and I want to adapt it to my skill set and my level of common sense or whatever. So here it is. I'll take you years back to my childhood, and I was raised in a child should be seen and not heard type environment. I'm 46, so you know this is 70s, and I was also raised up in a lot of contradiction and hypocrisy. That whole do as I say, not as I do. And that was like the biggest fucking wrong that could happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you telling me not to do this shit, but here I see that you're doing it, so how am I supposed to learn from that shit? There was also a lot of, you know, verbal abuse, physical abuse, things like that. My parents' teaching skills slacked. It's one of those things where when it came down to my mother, it's like, you doing shit to me and to my siblings that didn't even happen to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you go and ask her, did you get whooped like this? She'd be like, no. You know what I'm saying? And this information came to me like after I was an adult. I'm like, God damn, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Where did you get this whatever it was to treat us differently than the way you was treated, and on a bad level? You know what I'm saying? Some parents is like, yo, I don't want you to go through what I went through on a good level. So here it is. The reason why we're looking at Willie D is because, and if you didn't know, this is Willie D from the iconic group from Houston, Ghetto Boys. And he has this channel here to which it's his live streaming channel, and I'm going to leave that down in the description box. Willie D is a man that I think I heard him explain it himself as he's a no-nonsense type of guy. I remember watching an interview that he did with Corey Holcomb, and Corey Holcomb suggested that Willie D watched a certain comedian, a Caucasian comedian that, said different racial shit, different bigotry shit, and Willie was like, you know what, I ain't watching him. That's not my type of comedy. And then Willie D was like, okay, we'll check it. I'll watch him, but I know it's going to be a waste. Basically, he was like, I'll watch him, but I know it's going to be a waste of my time because the shit's not going to be funny. Ain't no way. Because I see the big picture of who this person is, and the fuck, I ain't got nothing in common with him. He ain't got nothing in common with me, and it's just a waste of time, basically. I would suggest you go watch the Ghetto Boys Reloaded video interview with Corey Holcomb to hear exactly what Willie had said to Corey. You know, I don't want to put words in his mouth, things like that, but I understood where he come from. I'm the type of person where I may not fuck with something, but I like to see things and learn things to get a well-rounded view of life, period. But to this topic of parenting, I didn't want to bring a child in this world and fuck up their life. And the percentages of fucking up a child's life is I don't know the percentages. That's what scared me from wanting to be, you know, an unprepared parent. You know, I had seen parents that gave their kids all the tools that they could possibly give their child, and their child still turned out to be a piece of shit. And then I seen the opposite, where a parent had given their child all the tools they needed, and that child, you know what I'm saying, excelled. You know what I'm saying? And I've also seen it to where there was a parent that didn't give their kid shit, and their kid didn't turn out to be shit. I mean, and their kid turned out to be a piece of shit. And I've also seen a parent that didn't have nothing to give their kid, and their kid reversed that shit and turned out to be something anyway. So, you know what I'm saying? There's 4 views of parenting for that I was able to, you know what I'm saying, get an understanding of how hard parenting could be. You know, there's some parents that want their child to be better than what they are or was. You know what I'm saying? They want their kids to be the best they can be. And then you got some parents who just don't give a fuck. They are just some selfish ass people. And I've also said this too, speaking of selfish. I think that any person that brings a child in the world and they are unprepared to raise that kid, I think that parent is a very selfish ass person. Because they know that once they have sex with somebody with the opposite sex, unprotected, then the chances of a child being conceived is just like right there. You know what I'm saying? It could be a slip up one day, you know what I mean? And then boom, a child is conceived. Children don't ask to be brought into this world. So it takes a person, it takes 2 people to you know what I'm saying, put their DNA together and conceive a child, you know what I mean? So if they are not prepared for that child, I believe they are some very selfish ass people because they know better. They fucking know better. The only way that I couldn't call somebody selfish is if that woman was raped. If that woman was raped, and like the laws that they got going on now in 2022, that abortions are becoming illegal, damn near everywhere, then that woman has no other choice but to bring a child in that she didn't want. Now, back in the day, that story was still the same as far as women being raped, and they had parents that didn't believe in abortions, or even though that woman was raped, she herself didn't believe in abortions, and she brought that child into this world. Now, it's something that I think is very gross. I think is very fucked up, and that is a woman who gets raped and chooses to bring that child into this world anyway, and then she in turn abuses that child because of the emotional baggage that she had from being raped. And there's a lot of women that sit there and say that, yo, she can't stand her child because her child looks like the man that impregnated her. So all that psychological damage she pours out on that child is the innocent victim in that situation. And I think that's very fucked up for a woman to do that to a kid. I think it's fucked up for a woman to sit back and to know better than to get pregnant in the first place, but still go out and be a fast ass chick and get pregnant. It's fucked up, man. Very fucking selfish. Very selfish. And I don't like it. I can't stand it. And here it is. It makes no sense for it to still be happening today. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what I'm saying, it's like, what's that one quote or cliche or whatever, that there's nothing new under the sun. Meaning, the shit that's going on now has been going on for a very long time. And with that being said, we all have had examples of what not to do. And people still choose to do shit they know they shouldn't do. And that makes no fucking sense to me. As a people, I would want us to learn from other people's selfishness. You know what I'm saying? It's a point where you can't call it a mistake. When a person knows better, fuck a mistake. You know better. Not unless something happened and it was completely out of your hands. So it's like, man, out of everything that we witnessed, that we experienced, that we seen vicariously through other people, and if you don't know what the definition of vicarious, I looked it up enough to use it in the way that I'm using it. But it's basically learning how to do something by watching somebody else. And if we still need some fucking help, give me a second here. Because my disclaimer is, I'm not the smartest person in the world, and I'm not the dumbest person in the world. So on that note, I don't want to sound like I'm smarter than I am. I don't want to lead nobody on when it comes down to intelligence. I don't want to plant a seed in somebody, into somebody's brain that's going to harm them. So vicariously as an adverb means in a way that is experienced in the imagination through the actions of another person. Example being, she was living vicariously through her children. Okay? So if you didn't get it from there, if you don't have a better understanding from just that, then it's your responsibility to look the word up, look up all the other ways that it could be used and all that shit. So anyway, back to this whole parenting thing. After I brought one child, helped bring one child into the world, I did my damnedest not to bring another child into the world. And the closest that I ever brought another child into the world is my first marriage. After she and I had separated and gone on separate ways, she told me that she had gotten pregnant while we were together, and she told me, but I didn't have any type of, hey, let's keep the baby or whatever. And I ended up forcing her to stress. I ended up causing her to stress so much that she lost the kid. That type shit. And I'm like, man, I call bullshit on that. Because during the timeline that she's talking about, if she had told me that she was pregnant, we was in the perfect position to raise that child in a great environment. So I would have welcomed that child into our lives with open arms. So I'll call bullshit on that. But anyway, I haven't finished this video. And the thing, okay, what brings this whole video up that I'm watching is that there was a rapper, a hip hop artist that was killed here. This is September and October. No, in the beginning of September. Somewhere in between the middle and the beginning of September of 2022. His name was PNB Rock. And they caught the killers. Today is the 28th of September. And within the last couple of days, they killed the people. They found out who killed PNB Rock. And the fucked up thing about it is, one of the people that was involved in this was a minor. And then there was a woman, an adult woman, and the driver, the getaway driver, was the father of that minor. So, as you see on the title of this video, Like Father, Like Son. Alright? That is what triggers me to want to make another video about what I think about parenting. It's like, it's got to be the hardest fucking job. When I've always said this, I learned this from somebody else, but it is so hard to do the right thing most times, but it's so easy to do the wrong thing. You gotta put in work to make good things happen. But all you have to do is just slack off and just say fuck it. You know what I'm saying? And you can easily do the wrong thing, let the wrong shit happen in life. You know what I'm saying? You can just have an I don't give a fuck attitude and wrong things are gonna happen, period. Once you stop caring about your own self, you know what I'm saying? Once you lose your self-respect, once you don't have any type of drive in your life, what else can happen for you? You know what I'm saying? This is not a life where things are handed to you, so you won't struggle. And the things that come with struggling is not pretty. You know what I'm saying? When you hungry, there's a right way of getting fed and there's a wrong way of getting fed. You know what I mean? And if you're not allowed, or if you don't have the ability to get fed the right way, then you just might go and do the wrong thing to get fed. You have no other fucking option, it seems. So it's like, man, my example of that, my personal example of that, is I chose to live in an abandoned apartment with some friends. Didn't want to go home. Just got fired from a job. And when it came down to eating, we went to the nearest restaurant and picked food, edible food out of the trash. You know what I'm saying? That is a story that a lot of people, that story had, people have done that throughout history, period. It's documented in so many different ways. So I am glad that I chose to eat that way instead of going to steal for a meal or to rob somebody for a meal. I was a legit kleptomaniac, so I got that under my belt. And it's nothing to be proud of, but it's something that I had a choice to not do, but I still chose to steal shit when I was younger. And that was out of my parents couldn't do shit about that. Now, when my mother found out that I was stealing shit, yeah, she disciplined me. But it was still in me to go out and steal shit. So it didn't matter if she disciplined me. I still went out and stole shit. That's out of her hands. So, like I say, some parents, they do try hard to keep their kids on the straight and narrow, but it's just something in a young person, and they still end up being, a piece of shit person. They still do bullshit out there, and it's nobody else that young person can blame but themselves. Big example, 2022, is the hip-hop artist T.I. He has a son who is a minor at this time. I think he's like 16, 17, something like that. And he chooses to live his life the way that he's choosing to live his life. And T.I. has gone on the record and said, hey, I've talked to him. I've disciplined him physically the way that I'm supposed to, the way, a parent who cares about their child is supposed to him. You know what I'm saying? He said he's done some things that he's supposed to do as a parent to get the message to his son that he's going down the wrong path and he's going to end up in jail or dead. Now, there's boot camps, there's other extended forms of getting a kid off the streets and into some type of program to, instill good qualities into them, but they can't be trusted at all either. You know what I'm saying? There's still a percentage of kids that, like I say, is just in them to be fucked up. So that program is wasted. You know what I'm saying? To where instead of having that fucked up ass kid in there, it wasted a slot for a kid that would have actually gotten something out of that program and became something better, became a better person from that program. So I didn't want to bring another child into this world. I didn't want to help bring another child into this world until I was prepared. And while I was in my 20s, I learned that, man, I am not going to be prepared until I'm like in my 30s or 40s, because there's so much to experience and there's so much life to live to learn who you are as an individual. And then to be responsible for yourself. Plus, when you get into a relationship with someone, you are also responsible for them in so many ways. So if they are not in check or in tune with themselves, it makes things a lot harder. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell women that I dated, look, man, let's not even go into the titles of boyfriend, girlfriend type shit. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, let's just be the best people that we can be to ourselves and to each other for as long as we can. And women looked at me with confusion like, huh? And even though I tried to break that down to them, they was like, whatever, I don't get it. You weird for that shit. What are you trying to say? As a matter of fact, most of them thought that I was trying to talk out the side of my neck about, you know, like not wanting to be committed. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm trying to be as responsible as I possibly can. And if you're going to be in my life, I want you to be on that level with me. So I was dealing with women that didn't understand where I was coming from, and I made sure that I didn't get them pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And it's a responsibility to make sure that you don't bring children in this world when you as a person is not ready to be the best parent that you can possibly be. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, you know, it is a very selfish thing to bring a child into the world when you yourself are not ready to give that child every fucking tool that child is going to need to be a successful person. Now here it is, when it comes down to the murder of P&B Rock, when it comes to find out that the father talked his kid into murdering or helping murder another human being, it's like, man, you got a lot of parents out there that are trying to pass down illegal skills to their kids. There are still parents out there having kids just for the money that they can get from the system. You know, welfare or whatever the fuck else they're getting money from with city-state assistance. You still got parents that are selling their kids into the human trafficking epidemic. I don't know what else to call it. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of fucked up parents out there. You got parents that are like, instead of giving their children away to some people that love that kid, they'll kill that kid. They'll abuse that kid. What do you call that? The shake syndrome, where you shake a baby so much that their brain hits the walls of the skull and kills the infant. You know what I'm saying? And then the parent is acting dumbfounded, like, Abba. You got fucked up people that work as babysitters. They go into other people's lives and fuck up their whole life by killing their kid that they supposed to be babysitting, abusing their kids sexually, mentally, physically. You got a lot of fucked up ass people out here. And I've said this over and over and over again. After watching that movie 300, and I don't care how true it is or not, but the motherfuckers was like, yo, they was looking for the weak kids, and they fucking let them die. You know what I'm saying? They're like, look, you're not coming into our community, not let you strong, mentally and physically, so that we can grow as a community. If you can't, add to the community, then why should we fucking waste our time and energy on you? And each time I make a video about communities, I'm still on that same level. It's like, man, as a community, we are responsible for so many things. There are so many layers to a community. You know what I'm saying? They had that TV show, What Would You Do? Meaning, if you're in a restaurant and you see a woman getting verbally abused or physically abused by somebody that she's with, are you going to step up and help that woman out, or vice versa? It could be a man that's getting verbally abused or physically abused. Are you going to stand up and help that man? You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people that would sit back and be like, yo, it's not my problem. Or it would be a lot of people who are just too afraid of the abuser. You know what I'm saying? They won't step up to the abuser. They won't put themselves in physical harm for another person. And that's the community, that's what we live in today. And it's fucked up. I don't want to commit suicide, but I sure am tired of the shit. I remember I told myself, I was like, man, if I was to die, I would love to die in my sleep. I don't want a painful death. I don't want to suffer. And I died in my sleep once. Was brought back to life. Now I got, you know what I'm saying? I've had all these other years to sit back and be like, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? I was out of here. You know what I'm saying? I was out of here, and I was brought back. Didn't nobody ask me. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those. It's fucked up. It's like a child. You know what I'm saying? An infant not having a choice in the matter of coming into this world. You know what I mean? I died the way that I wanted to, but they brought me back, and life hadn't been easy. It was still a struggle. You know what I'm saying? But I choose to show love to mankind when I can. And my message to anyone that watches is love is about love, peace, and harmony, and unity. I believe I was watching the Ghetto Boys Reloaded. No, I was watching an interview with Ali Sadiq, and he gave me a whole nother outlook on that saying, crabs in a barrel. He's like, for one, those crabs shouldn't be in a goddamn barrel. He said, if you look at crabs in nature, they are a community. They help each other. You know what I'm saying? They help each other. And I remember I used to watch that one TV show about the crabbers, fishermen who fish for crabs. And that's what the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? Whenever they go looking for the crabs, they look for a big mass at the bottom, on the sea floor. And that's where they lay their traps. You know what I'm saying? The cages that catches the crabs. Because they see that the crabs are heading that direction. So they want to head them, put the feed or, the bait in the traps and let the traps, get to the bottom of the floor. the bottom of the sea or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the crabs as a colony, they move in that direction and they get caught. So it's like, the whole outlook of crabs in a barrel is a fucked up way of saying some shit. Because, yeah, what are the crabs doing in the barrel in the first fucking place? You know what I mean? And to associate ourselves as a bunch of crabs pulling each other down, it's not a racial thing. And the reason why I say that is because when I first heard about crabs in a barrel, it was associated with people of my race. And it took me all the way it took me till I got in my 40s to be able to erase that out of my head. And so I wouldn't say it like that, reference to it as you know what I'm saying, as my people are a bunch of crabs in a barrel. I can't no longer use that reference because I see the sense of it now. It's like, man, we gotta unthink some shit. We really do. It's like with religion. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, I used to be religious, and then I was on the fence for a lot of years because I was like, I understand the ethics and the principles that you can get from the Bible, but what throws me off is the way that they try to teach it. And that's what fucked me up. I'm like, the way they're trying to teach it, and I just can't get with that. So I finally, I say in my 30s, was like, man, fuck what I was taught. You know what I'm saying? No. It took me till I was in my 20s because I was like, man, I'm not religious. I'm just spiritual. And at this point right now, in my 40s, it's like, man, it's whatever. You know what I mean? I know I'm not down for religion. Look at, you know what I'm saying? Look at all the religious people who are fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Fucking what they tried to teach, it ain't real to me. Now, for a lot of people that, if anybody watches this video and they get offended by me talking about religion, look, man, overlook that and get to the point that I'm trying to make about parenting. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, when it comes down to parenting, those two parents gotta be the best people they can be individually in order to be the best couple that they could possibly be in order to give that child everything that they can possibly give that child. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just posted a video about how Disney and these other, platforms of child entertainment is failing the youth because they're not explaining and they're not letting these kids know that this is pure entertainment. There's lessons that you can learn from it, and these are the reference points where you can go learn this shit before you get into the show that you're about to watch. It should be enforced. And once again, when it comes down to parenting, parents should know what the fuck their kids are watching. I don't care if it's on the big TV in the house. I don't care if it's on the computer screen that's in the kid's room or in the library or whatever the fuck. I don't care if the kid, the parent gave a kid a phone where a kid can, you know what I'm saying, link up to whatever child entertainment. A parent is supposed to know, supposed to monitor it, because it's fucking dangerous out here. These people do not give a fuck. When I say these people, I'm talking about anybody behind the entertainment business. Not behind, just behind, but everybody that's involved with the entertainment business. They do not give a fuck about the next person's child. When they say that they do, it's lightweight. It's lightweight. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to put your child before their child. So it's very lightweight. You know what I'm saying? It really is. It's not worth the paper that they write bullshit on. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a contract to the consumer saying that they're going to be responsible for what we consume. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. Reality of it all, it's a parent's job to know what the fuck their kids are doing, are watching, learning. It's a parent's responsibility for their kids' actions, period. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's fucked up that it's something wrong with us because we come into this world with 3 personalities. We got personalities from our father, we got personalities from our mother, and we have our own individual personalities. And we're supposed to get an understanding of all three of those personalities, plus all the shit that's going on in the world before we leave our parents' house in order to become young adults, you know what I'm saying, in our 20s, to, you know what I'm saying, and be successful. Man, it's a lot of weight to put on a person's shoulders. It really is. And when the crack epidemic happened, it really, really broke us. You know what I'm saying? It really, really broke us. And when I say us, I'm talking about everybody that is still feeling the backlash of what the crack epidemic did. I mean, the whole breakdown of that, to me, is you had parents that got strung out on crack and they abandoned their children and they abandoned their parents. When they did that, the children had no other place to go except for to their grandparents. But with this epidemic, the grandparents got fed up with their children, who happened to be the parents of the kids. And so they was like, I'm not fucking with y'all no more. Good luck. I'm washing my hands of you. So that took the grandparents out of the scene, because the grandparents didn't have no more patience to deal with the crack addict. And that left the kids with no grandparents. So with the parents as crack addicts out there running the streets, you had children raising up their own siblings at 4, 5, 6 years old. You had a 6-year-old raising a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. You had a 5-year-old raising up a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old. And the only thing they knew, the only thing that was teaching them was the streets. Because they look out the window and they see that other people are eating, and this is how they're eating. This is how they afford, this is how they get their money to eat. So it's like, fuck, I gotta get that money. I gotta help my siblings eat. We hungry. And it just, you know what I'm saying, it just tumbled. It really tumbled it spiraled, it tumbled, you know what I'm saying, and we still are feeling the backlash from it, because after the crack epidemic, we went into the whole children having children. Now, mind you, it has been going on for years, for centuries, for decades, but after the crack epidemic, it got worse. Because you had 12, 11-year-olds having kids purposely, thinking that they grown. They out there in the streets making money, so they having sex. You got women that, or young girls who get pregnant at 11, 12, and they're like, look, in order to make some money, I gotta sleep around. Perfect song that illustrates this is Tupac's Brenda's Got a Baby. Look that up. Listen to that song. Break it down. Go and look at documentaries of how other people, smart, intelligent people, have broken down that song. And educate yourself. Educate the next person. Parenting is a very fucking hard job. It's hard enough to be an individual in this world, but to bring a child in this world, and I'm not saying anything about hope. I'm dealing with reality. Fuck hope. It's the reality that you bring a child in this world, and you got to make that child become something in life if you truly give a fuck. It's a hard job. Anyway, man, let me get back to this video. Is this Willie D video, because I want to finish it. But I get triggered. I'm 47, and I get triggered very easily because, you know what I'm saying, the shit's right there in front of my eyes. I'm not an ignorant person. Here's my disclaimer. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I am not the dumbest person in the world. I have done my research on stuff, and there's a lot of stuff out there that I can still go out and do research on. What I need you to do is to question everything that I'm talking about. Once you question the shit that I'm talking about, do your own research, then form your own opinion, and the most important thing that you can do is to share your opinion with other people. Because I know what it feels like to be the only person who's thinking something around a bunch of other people, and they're looking at me like I'm the weirdo. So if you share your information with anybody, with other people, you might help somebody feel better about the thoughts that they're having in life. You know what I'm saying? That they might be able to do something to help change somebody else's circumstance in life. You know what I mean? We can feed each other the right nourishment, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally, just by opening our mouths and saying the right shit. If you ain't got shit to say to people, leave people alone. The world is doing a good enough job of feeding people bullshit. We don't need somebody else taking up a lot of fucking oxygen just to talk about stupid shit. Now, mind you, I'm not a perfect person. There's a lot of shit that I cannot watch. But there's a lot of shit that I do watch that, you know what I'm saying, I know the difference in what I'm looking at. I know how to sit back and say, yeah, this is some bullshit. But like I say, there's a lot of things I just can't watch. You get to a point where I'm like, it's like, let me give you a perfect example. I start watching a movie, right? within the first 15 minutes, I started seeing that somebody's already making a stupid mistake. It's like, that's not real life. It's like, whoever wrote this shit wrote this for a idiot, for a dumb fuck. You know what I'm saying? To sit back and be like, oh, okay, they really gonna do this. It's like, no, nobody in their right fucking mind would do what that writer wrote for that actor to do. It's when I start thinking like that over a TV show or a movie or whatever the fuck, I'm like, man, I throw my hands up and be like, I just can't watch this shit. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some movies where I just stomach it because I want to see it all the way through. You know what I mean? So I'm not a perfect person. And I know that whoever watches my video, I know you're not perfect either. You know what I'm saying? But you have every right to make the choices that you want to make in your life. You have the capability of doing some great things. I don't care what kind of physical, mental, or emotional disability that you might have. For every disability that you have the ability to do something for yourself or for somebody else, whether it be in a physical way, an emotional way, a spiritual way, mental way, something. None of us has an excuse to be some fuck ups. We have all the examples in the world to be a better person. And we have so many tools around us every day to better ourselves. So, once again, I'm going to get off of here. And I want you to have a great day. I want you to have a great morning. I want you to have a great night. Take care. Peace.